So, without further ado, we'll kick things off. So, I'd like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land and the elders past, present, and emerging. We aim to respect them, their history, and their future by respecting and maintaining the land that supports us. I'd also like to take the opportunity to welcome each and every one of you here tonight, wherever you are around Australia, as well as those people who may watch this recording. There's a lot of research showing the benefits of parents and carers being actively involved in their children's learning and development. So I'd really like to acknowledge you all for being here as we discuss how Mathspace can be used to support your child's learning journey in maths. As I mentioned, we are going to record this session. We'll share it with everyone in the coming days. So at Mathspace, we believe that every student can excel at mathematics with the right help at the right time. Our mission is to be that right help at the right time for every student. So the way we like to think of ourselves is as a textbook and a tutor in one to really support what teachers are doing with your children at school. So tonight we're going to look at how to find tasks and complete work assigned by your child's teacher, how to use the Mathspace digital textbook, how Mathspace works as a digital tutor to support your child at home in their learning as well. So let's get going and learn about Mathspace for students. Starting off with the student dashboard. So the student dashboard is a learning ecosystem where students can complete classwork or homework, practice skills independently, and most importantly, see the growth in their own mathematical skills. The first thing a student sees when they log in is any work assigned by their teacher. So this is obviously the priority for them, as this will support what they are working on in class. To begin a task, they just click on the tile that they see under assigned tasks, and they can begin. If work has been assigned by the child's teacher, it will also appear in the assigned tab, just to the right of the dashboard tab. Okay. So students can look at past tasks for revision, as well as the current active tasks that they need to work on at the moment as well. As students complete their work on Mathspace, the results are all shared with their classroom teacher, so they can best support your child and provide personalised assistance for them when necessary. So adding your parent or guardian email to your child's account. So we send student task notifications, but we know sometimes that kids miss these. So if you would like to receive email notifications about tasks that your child has been assigned, you can do this from within their Mathspace account. So simply click on the student's profile picture in the top right of the screen, then click on Settings and add your email address in the Parents and Guardians section. So our product team are also working on updating weekly progress reports. So if your email is linked to your child's account, you'll automatically start receiving these when they become available. So there's your settings button, as mentioned, and that's where you would actually click to add your parent guardian email. So now let's talk about the Mathspace textbooks. So obviously new curricula has been rolled out for students across Australia. And for the first time, Mathspace have printed textbooks to accompany the online resource. So this might be a resource that your school is now also using. And here we have a typical curriculum structure. So we have the year levels on the left, and then the various strands or topics to the right that run through the curriculum. And what's particularly important to realize in maths is that the foundational skills in the early years really have a big impact on the understanding of later topic areas as the student progresses through their year groups. In each school year, the students would be expected to learn a small component of each topic. So for example, here we have a year 7 student, and this is what their program might look like with various components of various topics throughout the year. And so this is the view that a textbook would take generally in terms of picking up those little pieces of relevant content for their specific age group. So we know it's very common for a lot of students to access their textbooks online these days, so whether they have a printed book or not. And so we've purposely designed both the physical printed textbook and the online textbook so students can transition between the two seamlessly without interrupting their learning. So for example, if a child starts in their print book here, they can transition to the digital textbook using the textbook tab, the textbook view, to access all of their grade level content. The benefits of an online digital textbook is that it also includes lessons and videos and worked examples, as well as the practice exercises. So even if your school is using a different print resource, print textbook, students can still access all of the Mathspace textbooks made available to them by their teacher just by clicking on the title of the current book and choosing the new one. So this makes it a great resource for test or exam preparation as well. So students would obviously generally receive notice from their teacher about which particular topics will be included in upcoming assessments and exams. And so students can actually search for outcome codes on those documents and find all the exercises relevant to those outcomes within their own digital textbook. So as the students complete tasks on Mathspace, whether they're assigned this by the teacher or they're self-started, we'll report a level of mastery to the student so they can see their level of understanding and then pick appropriate areas for revision within the textbook. So as you can see in this example, in chapter 1.01, the student has demonstrated full mastery of that topic, the 4 operations, but the next one down, they're still sort of working towards that. They're at a familiar level, but not fully mastered yet. So once students are working on a task, they can enter steps of working and get immediate feedback. Importantly, if they make a mistake, we give them the opportunity to correct their error. They also have access to different learning support tools to help them along the way as they need it. This includes hints, videos, worked examples. You can see in this example, the student will stay on the question until they work their way towards the correct final answer. You may have also noticed in that example that the example student was chatting with Milo, the new AI-powered tutor. So some schools are already using Milo as a part of their students' Mathspace experience. However, we obviously know that AI is very new still to the world, and so the rollout of this will depend on your school's specific policies around AI, and we'll continue to work with them to ensure that your children are working in a safe online space. But Milo is actually an award-winning AI tool. So he's not only helps students like a tutor, he can be used to translate questions into other languages. His hints can also be read aloud if students have enabled that in their settings. And he's been trained to keep students on task and provide guidance rather than giving final answers to students. If any chats are deemed to be inappropriate with Milo, that is flagged and the teachers are notified. So we introduced all these learning supports because we know that it's not uncommon for students to have gaps in their knowledge from earlier years, which can become a real source of concern for both students and parents. So what can your child work on to support the growth of their mathematical skills and things potentially like gaps in their prior knowledge? So we recommend that your child does discovery check-ins if they haven't already done so. We use AI technology to understand a student's total knowledge state with only a small sample of questions. So we've mapped all curriculum outcomes into a knowledge graph with prerequisite skills. So we use this to select the best outcomes to assess at check-ins and to inform what tasks we recommend students work on to ensure they experience success. So these discovery check-ins will identify gaps and measure students' growth, but also help them develop their independent learning skills. So this is a routine that we really want to all students using Mathspace to start doing if they haven't already. So the skills view helps identify any knowledge gaps from earlier years that will help to support a student's current learning, focused on a particular strand or topic. To complete a discovery or a growth check-in, which is a smaller check-in, students simply click on the Skills tab at the top of their screen and then click onto one of those icons. So at the top, you would have seen Start Check-in icon. Okay. You can see that those prerequisite skills from earlier years that we recommend working on first to build foundational skills. So students can see all of that on their own unique dashboard or on their skills map, sorry. We're also in the process of updating how the system captures and reports data so that any question that a student completes on Mathspace will now start to contribute towards their knowledge graph to help teachers and students understand where they're at and to help make their growth visible as well. So you can see that, sorry, moving on. So we know that getting students, though, to do lots of extra independent maths practice may not always be completely realistic. Students sort of go through ebbs and flows of motivation. So we've introduced quick revision onto the student dashboard now. So this will be around 5 questions for them to complete based on errors that they've made while completing other tasks in recent times. So this opportunity for targeted practice really helps to personalize their learning and help them grow their mathematical skills as quickly as possible. So if you're looking for work to support your child, recommended practice or quick revision tasks will be really personalized work that they can do to support them in their mathematical journey. Okay, so as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, our mission at Mathspace is to be the right help at the right time for every student, and we're constantly looking for ways to improve to achieve that goal. So we actually would love the opportunity to interview some students about what they need to support their maths learning. So if your child is interested in participating, we have this QR code available here to get more information, to arrange a virtual interview. And yeah, we'll also, I think, post that link in the chat perhaps as well. But I've sort of gone through a lot of information there, so it might be time to pause and see how things are going in terms of questions in the Q&A, and to perhaps invite Erin or Daniel to mention if we've got lots of questions coming through and if there's anything that we'd like to address at the moment.
Yep, I'll just a few people, Andrew, have been asking about how they can find their students' login credentials. Like how like if they're not sure how their child can log in, who can they speak to about that?
Sure. Yes. So yeah, generally their classroom teacher should have their login credentials, well, have the students login credentials. And if for any reason they need to, the classroom teacher can also reset students' passwords for them. And then next time the student logs in with that new password, they can then create their own password again from there. Um, so yeah, I would say classroom teacher is always the first port of call there for login credentials.
Great, thanks, Andrew. A couple of people have been asking about the difference between, say, the print textbooks that some schools, not all schools, but some schools are using now from Mathspace versus the digital software.
Mm. Yeah, so I mean, obviously not all schools are using Mathspace print textbooks. But the way Mathspace, I guess, have thought about this is that we want to have a good balance of online and offline learning. So being able to use the amazing tools available on the digital website and the digital platform, sorry, and the digital textbook is fantastic. But we also want to keep in mind that a little bit of handwritten work and pen and paper stuff is still really important as well. So the way that the Mathspace textbooks, I guess, have been designed is to sort of integrate between the two and be able to switch between the two well. However, if a school is using a different textbook altogether, um, well, that's totally fine. You've obviously got that resource, but then Mathspace, again, can be used um, in its own right as a revision tool, or the teachers may wish to set specific homework tasks, things like that. But whatever is happening at the child's school, they always have access to all of our textbook content. So for extra practice, for revision, for just a different set of questions, it's all there for them. And whether they feel like they need to focus more on pen and paper work, or then they've got access to those worksheet questions there. And if they want more experience with the assistance available through the videos and the hints and examples and things, then I'd dive right into using the digital textbooks as well. So I'm not sure if that answers the question directly, but I think
No,
it's just,
I think that's
yeah,
great, Andrew. Yeah, thank
great.
you.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of parents are asking about whether there is a parent login in MathSpace where the parents have their own portal or dashboard. I've been saying no to people, there's been a lot of people asking, so I thought maybe Andrew, you could just address that quickly.
Yeah, no, so you're right, exactly. Not at the moment. There is not a specific parent portal or login. Yeah, we just sort of encourage parents to, I guess, sit down with your child from time to time and have a look in their account at what's going on and what sort of questions they're working on. But yeah, do add your email into their account for a little bit of extra information as well.
Great. I think that's it for now, Andrew. There are some more questions here that I'll just keep typing away. If you had more stuff you wanted to talk about. Otherwise, I can for any more questions.
Sure. Well, I think that's mostly, what I wanted to present for tonight. Um, but yeah, if there are more specific questions, we're more than happy to sort of go back over anything.
Great. Now we got
Or
lots more questions. So,
yeah, great.
yeah, let's stick around. Okay, someone has asked, does my students' login details change if they move to a different school?
Yeah. So well, you might be, better placed to answer that, Daniel, but I believe that would be the case. Yes, they would receive a new login credential because the student's account needs to be associated with the school they're in.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, please add anything there, Daniel, though, if I'm missing anything with that.
Yeah, technically, if the teacher shares a join code and the student uses their old account from their old school, it will move the old account to the new school. And then it's just up to then the student to update the email to the new school email, and they can technically move their account from one school to the other. And that way the student keeps their work history from the prior school. So you can technically do it, but
Mm.
to be honest, if you do have to kind of start fresh, because we have things like diagnostics and things that can very quickly determine what students do and don't know, it's really not the end of the world if a student has to kind of start again with a new Mathspace account at a new school.
Yeah, well, that's great, actually. Yeah, you're right. You can do that. So I guess if it, if a student was, say, in year 10 or something like that, and they had, really put in a lot of work over the previous years on Mathspace, yeah, it is possible to bring all that data across to their new school. Yeah, yep. So yeah, great.
Great. A few people have been asking about how does the platform identify prior learning gaps? I think you did cover that quickly before, but maybe you could just go through it again. Some of the parents are asking, is it possible for students to, go back into prior year levels to work on any gaps that they might have that perhaps the program may have identified?
Andrew, I'm wondering if you could just jump into the live platform just to show that off, how to add in the URL, going for the student to navigate as well.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
absolutely. Yeah, I will do that. Just bear with me for a moment while I get that organized. And yeah, but absolutely, it is very, very possible, very easy for students to um, go back and forth throughout different um, year level work. So let me just resume that now. And now, can you still see my slide deck there at the moment?
No, I can see you're logged in to the teacher platform
Ah,
within
great.
Mathspace.
Okay, I'll be a student in one moment then. So perfect. So this is my, sort of live student dashboard now. And so, yeah, there's a few ways we could probably look at things, but if I wanted to go into my skills map, for example, so this is probably one of the easiest ways to sort of access um, information and work from prior year levels. So what we could do, this is an example of a year 10 student. So this year 10 student could go down through these different topics, and they might want to let's look at, say, something in measurement and two-dimensional structures, for example, as a subtopic. And so now this is where, well, firstly, the student's being prompted here to start their discovery check-in. And this itself is actually an adaptive check-in. So this will sort of dip below and above the student's current grade level with the questions it asks them to sort of give it, the most accurate sort of grade level estimate that they're up to. But now, so if the student scrolls down, they can see, so for year 10, these are all the relevant curriculum outcomes for this topic, for this grade level. But then they can also continue down and see for prior year levels. So now, for example, this year 10 student would be looking at year 9 curriculum outcomes here. Now, they can also, at any time, click on the icons on the right and either work on some practice on this particular skill or do a check-in on this particular skill as well. So if a student did have gaps and wanted to work on something from prior year levels, absolutely they can do that from here. And I'll just have a look at the other view as well. So the students on their skills map can look sort of topic by topic as I just was, or in this all skills view, it's got this really nice sort of different way of looking at it now. So again, the year 10 curriculum outcomes associated with number at this end. And as I move back, sort of these are the prior year level skills. So if a student can identify something, so this 2 here represents a skill that this student has not fully mastered yet from a prior year level, which is adding and subtracting fractions with any denominators. And so again, the student can click on that, do some practice, and while they're working on the practice, they have access to all the support, help videos, etc. And then when they're ready, they can do a little check-in to sort of quiz themselves and update their mastery as well. So yeah, does that was that kind of answering the question there, Daniel, or was there a bit more to it than that?
No, I think that's good. I think, yeah, just, yeah, you've guided parents that if, the students click the skills tab, they go to the skills map. And so if the
Yep.
students have completed diagnostics, they will have that data that can actually guide the students on what they should work on, either at level or perhaps below level if there are those gaps in their prior knowledge. One or two parents have actually asked about extension opportunities. And what I normally say to schools is you can talk to the teacher, and because the teacher can set work from higher year levels, and it's up to the teacher really to determine whether the student's ready for that. Because there is always, you can always kind of challenge a student in the year level that they are in, but if you are parenting or caring for someone who's really exceptional and could work at a higher standard, please talk to your teacher because they can assign higher level textbooks online for your students to work through.
Yeah, absolutely. That's right. That yeah. So in certain circumstances, perhaps you would want to expose students to yeah, higher grade levels of content, and you can do that. Yeah, students can get access to multiple different textbooks from their teachers. So yeah, that's great.
Someone's asked about the daily coins and the Mathspace shop and how that works.
Yeah, so the way I think of it is I sort of think of Mathspace motivating students in two ways. Sort of firstly, that intrinsic internal motivation and the extrinsic motivation as well. So intrinsically, I think Mathspace is great for motivating students because they experience a lot of success. We give them opportunities to get support, retry things, so you're getting a lot of things correct and a lot of green ticks along the way. And so that idea of success, I think, really builds confidence. And helps that intrinsic motivation. And the idea of sort of the coins and the shop and the challenges and things is it's a bit more of that fun sort of external motivation, in my opinion. So as the students work through tasks and questions, they earn points and earn coins, and they can sort of use those to customize their dashboard and things along the way. So, for example, I can click on my shop and I can get different sort of accessories, backgrounds, and avatars to just have a little bit of fun with. Um, and then there's also, yeah, individual challenges that are sort of thrown to the student to earn some more coins. But then there's also these new expeditions that are fairly recent to Mathspace, which is an entire class challenge. And so if the entire class earns enough points along the way in a given month, we get to send Milo on a little trip somewhere around the world. This particular example is to Beijing. And if we're successful in that, then we sort of unlock, some extra rewards in terms of backgrounds and avatars and things. So obviously, the number one priority on Mathspace is to be working on maths and doing maths work, but yeah, a little bit of fun with the customization and the coins and things sort of adds to the students' enjoyment of being on the platform. And I think we've seen some really positive results since including some of these gamification features.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Andrew. A couple of parents, I think, missed the start of the webinar where they weren't sure how to add their email. While you're here, perhaps
Mm.
live in the app, can you maybe just show everyone again how, when you're sitting there with your students and, they've logged into Mathspace in front of you, how can you get them to kind of go to their settings page so that you, as the parent or carer, can add your email address so that you can kind of get email alerts when students have work that's upcoming and due.
Yeah, absolutely, no problem. So it's all from the student's little avatar icon in the very top right of the screen. So if you're sitting with your student and they're on Mathspace, get them to click on that little icon there, and then you go down to their settings, and from settings, this is where you can go down, sorry, a little bit further, and parents and guardians. So you can click to add the parent or guardian email address in there, and that will then link your email to the student's account, and you'll get those notifications and things. So yeah, just all from that top right and settings in there.
Right. Someone's asking about the iPads. Is there an app for the iPad that they could download if they want the kids using Mathspace on an iPad?
Yeah, so there is an app on the iPad, and yeah, a lot of schools do some maths-based work on iPads around Australia. I think that probably the functionality is a little bit better on laptops on a browser. But yes, what are your thoughts there, Daniel? Anything to add there?
Yeah, we have an app for the iPad only, so we don't have a specific app on other devices. It's just for iPads.
Sure,
The benefit is when they're completing learning activities, there's a handwriting tool, so they don't actually have to type on a keyboard. They can use their pen, and then it kind of converts to text. If the student needs to do something like a diagnostic or a pre-test that the teacher has assigned them, I would recommend doing that on a computer and not on the iPad. But the school can
sure.
kind of direct you there.
Yeah, and probably worth mentioning as well. I don't think I mentioned throughout the webinar previously, but if a student does have a write-on device with a stylus or an Apple Pen or something like that, um, there is a sketch pad where they can actually do some sort of working out by hand if
Yeah.
necessary as well. That just sort of
Yeah,
popped into my mind then.
A few parents and carers have been asking about, is there opportunities for pen and paper practice, if the students would like to do that, and how they could find that?
Yeah, um, so in a student's digital textbook, if they go into a particular topic, let's say we go into area. Um, And the students have this questions tab here. Now, they've got two sets of questions. They've got interactive questions, which are the ones that they would work on their device. But there's also this worksheet available here as well. So these worksheet questions are designed to be the more pen and paper style questions. So these would be the ones where if a student, or if I wanted my students to be answering questions on paper, I'd probably be using these questions in the worksheet tab, and they've got the answer key there that they can obviously look to check their work afterwards as well. So, yeah, I think these are probably the best questions there to, yeah, make sure the student is still getting that pen and paper practice when necessary.
Great. A couple of parents asking, like, it's kind of really specific to their school. Like, a few parents have asked, like, is this a part of the Australian curriculum, or is this an additional learning tool? Is there a cost involved? I would say to all of these questions, it's really something to ask your school's maths teacher. Obviously, if you've been shared this webinar link to attend the webinar tonight, your school has committed to using Mathspace as a digital resource, and they're keen to have their parent and carer community, have the school community learn more about the resource. It's obviously not mandated that all schools in the country use our software. It's obviously it's per school. Like a school will decide whether they want to use our resource, and they decide how they want to use the resource as well. So, yeah, a few questions like that coming through that I just thought I'd just address quickly.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Yep, all good questions, but yes, every school is a little bit different. And yeah, the school and the teacher again will always sort of direct how they want Mathspace to be used in the classroom. Um, and then yeah, at home, I guess it's a little bit up to you and your child if you want to go and do extra work. But yeah, always just refer back to your school and your teacher, your child's teacher, for any advice.